The Third Testament, Section 8 Man. Chapter 32, Incarnation, Nature and Mission of Man. The Incarnation on Earth. 1. You weep when one of yours leaves for the spiritual valley instead of feeling at peace, because you understand that he is approaching his master one more step. On the other hand, you celebrate a feast when a new being comes into your home, without thinking in this hour that this spirit being has come into the flesh to fulfill an atonement in this valley of tears. Then you should weep for it. 52-58. 2. You beget children of your flesh, but it is I who distribute the spirit beings among families, tribes, nations and worlds, and in this justice, inaccessible to men, my love is revealed. 67-26. 3. You live in the present and do not know what I have determined for your future. I am preparing great legions of spirit beings who will dwell on earth and bring a difficult mission, and you must know that many of you will be the parents of those creatures in whom my messengers will be incarnated. Your duty is to prepare yourselves inwardly so that you may know how to receive and guide them. 128:8. 4. I want to talk to you about many spiritual subjects, but you cannot yet understand them. If I were to reveal to you what kind of dwellings you have already come down to earth for, you would not be able to understand how you have lived in such places. 5. Today you can deny that you know the spiritual valley because your spirit, while incarnated, has no access to its past, so that it does not become vain nor depressed, nor desperate in the face of its new existence, in which it must begin anew as in a new life. 6. Even if you wanted to, you could not remember. I only permit you to keep an inkling or an intuition of what I am revealing to you here, so that you persevere in the struggle of life and willingly endure the trials. 7. You may doubt everything I tell you, but truly, that spirit world was really your home as long as you were spirit beings. You were inhabitants of that home where you knew no sorrow, where you felt the glory of the Father in your being, since there was no blemish in him. 8. But you had no merits, and so it was necessary that you should leave that heaven and come down to the world, that your spirit might, by his effort, win back that kingdom. 9. But you sank more and more morally until you felt very far from the divine and spiritual, your origin. 114:35-36. 10. When the Spirit comes to earth, he is animated by the best intentions to consecrate his existence to the Father, to please him in everything, to be useful to his neighbor. 11. But as soon as he sees himself imprisoned in the body, tried in 1,000 ways, and put to the test on his way of life, he becomes weak, gives in to the impulses of the flesh, succumbs to temptations, becomes selfish, and finally loves himself above all things, and only for moments does he listen to his conscience, where destiny and vows are written. 12. My word helps you to remember your spiritual covenant and to overcome the temptations and obstacles. 13. No one can say that he has never deviated from the way I have marked out. But I forgive you so that you learn to forgive your fellow men. 245:47-48. 14. Great spiritual teaching is necessary for man to live in harmony with the voice of his conscience. For although everything is permeated with divine love, wisely created for the good and happiness of man, the matter that surrounds him in the world is a trial to the spirit from the moment he inhabits a world to which he does not belong and unites it with a body whose nature is different from his own. 15. Therein you can see the reason why the spirit forgets his past. From the moment he incarnates in and merges with an unconscious creature that has just been born, he begins a life that is closely connected with that body. 16. Only two characteristics of the spirit remain present, conscience and intuition, but the personality, the works accomplished and the past remain hidden for a time. This is the way the Father intends it. 17. What would become of the spirit, who has come from the light of a high homeland to live in the wretched circumstances of this world, if he were to remember his past? And what vanities would there be among men if the greatness which existed in their spirit in another life were revealed to them? 257, 18–19. Correct evaluation of the body and its guidance by the Spirit. 18. I tell you not only to purify your spirits, but also to strengthen your bodies, so that the new generations that come forth from you may be healthy, and their spirits may fulfill their difficult mission. 51, 59. 19. Pay attention to the health of your body, take care of its maintenance and vitality. My teaching advises you to have loving care for your spirit and for your body, for both complement each other and need each other in the difficult spiritual task entrusted to them. 92,75. 20. Do not give your body more importance than it has in reality, nor allow it to take the place that belongs only to your spirit. 21. Understand that the body shell is only the tool you need for the spirit to manifest itself on earth. 62, 22–23. 22. Behold how this teaching is beneficial to your spirit. For as the matter of the body draws nearer and nearer to the bosom of the earth with every day that passes, so the spirit draws nearer and nearer to eternity. 23. The body is the base on which the spirit rests as long as he dwells on earth. Why allow it to become a chain that binds, or a dungeon that holds prisoners? Why allow it to be the control of your life? Is it right for a blind man to guide the one whose eyes see? 126, 15–16. 24. This teaching is simple like all pure, divine, and therefore easy to understand. But sometimes it will seem difficult to you to put it into practice. The efforts of your spirit require effort, renunciation or sacrifice on the part of your body, and if you lack education or spiritual discipline, you will suffer. 25. Since the beginning of time there has been the struggle between the spirit and the flesh, soul, in trying to understand what is right, permitted and good to live a life conformed to the God-given law. 26. In this heavy struggle it seems to you as if a foreign and malevolent power is constantly tempting you to turn your back on the battle, inviting you to make use of your freedom of will and to continue on the way of materialism. 27. I say to you that there is no greater temptation than the weakness of your body, sensitive to everything that surrounds it, weak enough to give way, easily brought down and seduced. But he who has learned to master the drives, passions and weaknesses of the body has conquered the temptation that it carries within himself. 271, 49–50. 28. The earth is a battlefield, there is much to learn. If it were not so, a few years of life on this planet would be enough for you, and you would not be sent out to be born again and again. There is no darker and darker burial cave for the spirit than its own body, if dirt and materialism are attached to it. 29. My word lifts you up out of this grave and gives you wings afterward, so that you may soar up to the regions of peace and spiritual light. 213, 24-25. The meaning / task of soul, spirit and conscience in human beings. 30. The body could exist without spirit, by means of the animated physical life alone, but it would not then be a human being. It would possess soul and be without spirit, but it could not then guide itself, nor would it be the highest being, which recognizes the law through conscience, distinguishes good from evil, and receives every divine revelation. 59, 56. 31. Conscience shall enlighten the spirit, and the spirit shall guide the body, over the soul. 71, 9. 32. While in the world some run after the wrong size, others say that man is an insignificant creature before God, and there are even those who compare themselves to the worm of the earth. Certainly, your material body may appear small to you in the midst of my creation, but it is not to me, because of the wisdom and skill with which I have created it. 33. But how can you judge the greatness of your being by the measures of your body? Do you not feel in it the presence of the Spirit? He is greater than your body, his existence is eternal, his way infinite. You are not able to recognize the end of his development, any more than you can recognize his origin. I do not want to see you small, I created you so that you may attain greatness. Do you know when I consider man to be small? When he has degenerated in sin, because then he has lost his nobility and his dignity. 34. For a long time you have no longer kept to me, you no longer know what you really are, because you have allowed many qualities, abilities and gifts, which your Creator placed in you, to slumber idly in your being. You are asleep with respect to spirit and conscience, and it is in their spiritual qualities that the true greatness of man lies. You live like the beings that are of this world, because they arise and die in it. 85, 56-57. 35. With my word of love I prove to you the value that your spirit has for me. There is nothing in the material creation that is greater than your spirit, neither the royal heavenly body with its light, nor the earth with all its wonders, nor anything else created is greater than the spirit I have given you, because he is a divine particle, is a flame that has emerged from the divine spirit. 36. Apart from God, only the spirits possess spiritual intelligence, consciousness, will and freedom of will. 37. Above the instincts and inclinations of the flesh, soul, there rises a light, which is your spirit, and above this light a guide, a textbook, and a judge, which is the conscience. 86, 68. 38. Mankind, in its materialism, tells me, does the kingdom of the Spirit even exist? But I answer you, O unbelievers, you are the Thomas of the third age. Feelings of compassion and mercy, of tenderness, goodness, and generosity are not qualities of the body, any more than are the gifts of grace which you carry hidden within you. All those feelings that are imprinted on your heart and mind, all those abilities belong to the Spirit, and you must not deny it. The flesh is only a limited instrument, but the Spirit is not. He is great, because he is an atom of God. 39. Seek the seat of your spirit in the core of your being and the great wisdom in the glory of love. 147, 21-22. 40. Verily, I tell you, from the earliest days of mankind, man possessed the intuitive knowledge to carry within himself a spiritual being, a being which, though invisible, revealed itself in the various works of his life. 41. Your Lord has from time to time revealed to you the existence of the Spirit, its essential nature and its hidden being. For although you carry it within you, the veil in which your materialization wraps you is so thick that you are not able to recognize what is the noblest and purest in your being. 42. Man has dared to deny many truths. Nevertheless, belief in the existence of his spirit was not one of the things he fought against most, because man felt and finally understood that denying his spirit would be the same as denying himself. 43. When the human body degenerated because of its passions, its vices and its sensual pleasure, it became a chain, a dark blindfold, a prison and an obstacle to the unfolding of the Spirit. Nevertheless, in his hours of trial, man has never lacked a spark of inner light that would come to his aid. 44. Verily, I tell you, the highest and purest expression of the Spirit is conscience, that inner light which makes man the first, the highest, the greatest and noblest of all creatures that surround him. 170, 56-60. 45. I say to all the people that the highest and most beautiful title that man possesses is that of being a child of God, although it is necessary to earn it. 46. The purpose of the law and the teachings is to reveal to you the knowledge of my truth, that you may become worthy children of that divine Father who is the highest perfection. 267, 53. 47. You know that you were created in my image and likeness, but when you say it, you are thinking of your human form. I tell you, not there is my image, but in your spirit, which, to become like me, must perfect itself by exercising the virtues. 48. I am the way, the truth and the life, am the justice and the good, and all this comes from divine love. Do you now understand how you would have to be so that you would be in my image and likeness? 31, 51, 52. 49. You have a reflection of the divine in you. I am truly in you. The intelligence, will, abilities, senses, and virtues you possess bear witness to the higher nature of being to which you belong, and are a living testimony of the Father from whom you emerge. 50. At times, by disobedience and sin, you defile and desecrate the image you bear of me in your being. Then you are not like me, for it is not enough to have a human body and a spirit to be an image of the Creator. The true resemblance to me consists in your light and in your love for all your neighbors. 225, 23-24. 51. I created you in my image and likeness, and since I am at once three and one, this Trinity likewise exists in you. 52. Your material body represents creation by virtue of its perfect configuration and harmony. Your incarnated spirit is an image of the Word that became man to leave a trail of love in the world of men, and your conscience is a radiant spark of the divine light of the Holy Spirit. 220, 11-12. 53. What merit would your spirit have if it were to work within a body without will and without inclinations of its own? The struggle of the spirit with its body soul, is that of power against power. There he finds the touchstone by which he must prove his superiority and his spiritual greatness. It is the test in which the spirit has often succumbed for a moment to the temptations into which the world brings him through the flesh. So great is the violence that these temptations exert on the spirit that you finally had the impression that a supernatural and malignant power was pulling you to ruin and ruining you in the passions. 54. How great is the responsibility of the spirit before God! The flesh has not accepted this responsibility. See how it rests forever in the earth when death comes. When will you acquire merits so that your spirit may become worthy to dwell in homes more perfect than this one in which you live? 55. The world offers you crowns that testify only to vanity, pride, and false greatness. To the spirit who can transcend these vanities, another crown is reserved in the hereafter, that of my wisdom. 53, 9-11. 56. Life shall be revealed more in the spirit than in the body. How many have already lived in this world, but how few have lived spiritually, expressing the grace that exists in every human being, in that divine spark which the Creator placed in man. 57. If men could preserve clairvoyance in their spirit, they could see through it their past, their present, and their future. 58. The Spirit is like my book of divine wisdom. How much it contains! Every now and then it has something to reveal to you, sometimes such deep revelations that they are incomprehensible to you. 59. That spark of light which is present in every human being is the bond which connects man with the spiritual, is what brings him into contact with the hereafter and with his Father. 201, 37-40. 60. Alas, if only your material nature could receive what your spirit receives through his seer's gift. For your spirit never ceases to see, even though the body, by virtue of its material nature, perceives nothing of it. When will you be able to understand your spirit? 266, 11. 61. As long as you, who do not love life because you call it cruel, do not recognize the meaning of conscience in man, nor let yourselves be led by it, you will find nothing of true value. 62. It is conscience that lifts the spirit to a higher life above matter, soul, and its passions. Spiritualization will make you feel the great love of God, if you succeed in making it become a deed. Then you will understand the meaning of life, see its beauty and discover its wisdom. Then you will know why I have called it life. 63. Who will dare to reject this teaching by saying that it is not true, after he has come to know and understand it? 64. When you understand that your true value is grounded in your conscience, you will live in harmony with everything created by your Father. 65. Then will conscience beautify poor human life, but first man must turn away from all passions that separate him from God, to follow the path of righteousness and wisdom. Then will begin for you the true life, the life which today you look upon with indifference because you do not know what you despise and have no idea of its perfection. 11, 44-48. The temple of God in man. 66. The conception which mankind has of me is childish because it did not understand the revelations which I have given it incessantly. To him who knows how to prepare himself, I am visible and touchable and present everywhere, but to him who has no sensibility, because materialism has hardened him, it is almost impossible to comprehend that I exist, and he has the feeling that I am immeasurably far away, that it is impossible that I can be felt or seen in any way. 67. Man must know that he carries me within himself, that he possesses in his spirit and in the light of his conscience the pure presence of the divine. 83, 50-51. 68. The suffering that oppresses the people of this time leads them step by step, without them realizing it, to the gates of the inner sanctuary, in the face of which they will ask, unable to go on, Lord, where are you? And from inside the temple the benevolent voice of the Master will be audible and tell them, I am here where I have always lived, in your conscience. 104, 50. 69. You have been born in me. The spiritual and material life you have received from the Father. And figuratively I can tell you that at the same time that you were born in me, I was born in you. 70. I am born in your conscience, grow in your development and reveal myself fully in your works of love, so that you may say with rejoicing, the Lord is with me. 138, 68-69. 71. Today you are still children's pupils and cannot always understand my teaching properly, but for the time being speak to God with your heart, with your thoughts, and He will answer you from the innermost part of your being. His message, which will speak in your conscience, will be a clear, wise, loving voice, which you will discover little by little, and to which you will later become accustomed. 205. 47. 72. In this third time I will raise up the Church of the Holy Spirit in the heart of my disciples. There will dwell the Creator God, the strong God, the God who became man in the second time, the God of infinite wisdom. He lives in you, but if you want to feel Him and hear the sound of His word, you must prepare yourselves inwardly. 73. He who does good feels my presence inwardly, as does he who is humble or sees in every neighbor a brother. 74. In your spirit exists the temple of the Holy Spirit. This area is indestructible, there are no storms or hurricanes capable of tearing it down. It is invisible and untouchable to the human gaze. Its pillars should be the desire to grow in good. His dome is the grace that the Father bestows on His children. The gate is the love of the Divine Mother, for everyone who knocks at my door will touch the heart of the Heavenly Mother. 75. Disciples, here is the truth that lives in the Church of the Holy Spirit, so that you may not be among those who go astray by false interpretations. The churches of stone were but a symbol, and of them no stone shall remain upon another. 76. I want the flame of faith to burn always on your inner altar, and you to understand that with your works you lay the foundations on which the great sanctuary shall one day rest. I put all people with their different ideas to the test and work on them, because I will let all of them participate in the erection of my temple. 148,44-48.